spoiler alert, and warning to all watching. The following video will contain spoilers from the Season 1 finale of Supergirl, as well as providing information about certain plot lines and characters showing up on Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow. If you do not want anything spoiled or ruined for you, stop watching now. For everybody else, hey guys, Dave here. Okay, I'm a little hyped about this. I know I was going to wear this zombie survival kit shirt before with Sullivan Grundy supposedly being the bad guy for the crossover. Looks like I was wrong, but it's okay. One thing I learned doing these theory videos, never be afraid to be wrong, because if you have a good idea about where these things might come from, it could generate interest in the idea, and sometimes you're right. That's cool. If not, moving on. Okay. In my last video, I talked about it has been revealed that the main bad guys for the 4-show crossover in the big shows for DC on CW are going to be the Dominators, a very sadistic alien race that have an interesting history with various characters in the DCU. Now, I first heard about them and saw them in the 1980s with the Invasion storyline. Yellow skin, big protruding teeth, different size red dots on their head depending on what caste they are. Now, a friend of mine, and subscriber to this channel, had pointed out that they actually used to be not only a different color skin, but also their first appearance was back in the 60s facing the Legion of Superheroes. I missed those issues. I didn't even know about that. So yeah, thank you so much for the heads up, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, there's stuff even I don't know, and I'll happily admit that, but I'd like to learn. Okay, I made a video earlier about the Dominators and how the Invasion was a huge storyline. Let me recap. In the Invasion story, the Dominators had created an alien alliance, and they were trying to find out about the secrets of why human beings can develop metahuman powers. In fact, in the comics, they're the first ones that coined the term metahuman. See, a lot of races in the DCU have specific biological powers that virtually all the races have, and it's predictable. Humankind is unpredictable because depending on whatever hits them, if they survive, they tend to generate powers. They're completely at random. No one's really sure how it works. And also, people were worried about how potentially powerful they could become one day. So, in the Invasion storyline, before they even decided to hit Earth, they decided to take a little field test. They got 50 people from around the world, different nationalities, different skin colors, everything, and put them through something called a blaster field. Essentially, it was a death trap of all kind of various weaponry, energy, radiation, chemical, physical, and they decided to make these people run the gauntlet, and if they survived, to see how many would develop powers. They estimated that 1 in 50 people could develop them. It turns out there were 7 that survived, all testing positive for metahuman activity, but they were later dropped to 6 because one of them was severely injured and she didn't make it. This had them convinced that an alien alliance had to form to try to cull superhumans by taking them off-world, removing that power from Earth, and if possible, learning how to duplicate their abilities, how to instill those abilities in themselves, or at the very least, turning metahumans into cannon fodder for their own attempts to take over other worlds. A huge crossover event happened that was pretty darn awesome, in my opinion. It's one of my favorites. And I thought it was just freaking amazing. Now, here the thing is, I'm going to try to go over some of the points that I've touched on before, but I had to expand on. It ticked me off. After I uploaded my last video, I realized there was a point that I had completely forgotten about. These are little hints that have been seeded throughout press releases, updates about various characters showing up on the shows, and it wasn't until after I did my last video that I realized, oh crap, I didn't cover this, and it could be huge. And then another, and another, and it just started to snowball. And it's very clever because these little hints have been dropped for the last few months, but the pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit together with how much it's actually coinciding with the invasion storyline. So, first off, let me cover something that I didn't get to cover before in my video. As I said, the Dominators are dangerous, but they work best as the leaders of an alien alliance. There's been a lot of aliens dropped as far as for in Supergirl, and an earlier statement said that Supergirl would create the seeds for the 4-part crossover. So it starts in Supergirl. It's an alien threat. Boom. That's where it's coming into. Now I'm guessing that with Supergirl and Superman phasing into the rest of the superhero universe for DC on CW, this makes the Dominators very aware of metahumans. Before that, the only real metahumans that showed up, there was Reactron on Supergirl, but he was exposed to radiation sickness and he used essentially a power armor that gave him his powers. But the first real metahuman that showed up in Supergirl was Livewire. And this is messed up because she was trying to save Livewire from a helicopter crash, but lightning struck, went through Supergirl, hit her, and she developed electrical powers. Given the right circumstances, an X-element with Kryptonians could transfer and grant powers to humans. Very big. Huge. So, one of the big secrets that people were wondering about, season finale, season 1 of Supergirl, another Kryptonian appearing pod had crashed, and she opened the pod and she was rather surprised to see who it was. We don't know who it was, but I was meaning to drop a video theory about this, but it turns out a lot of press is already admitting that this is more than likely going to be Mon-El or a version of Superboy. It was just kind of changed around. I have a cool little video on my channel called Mon-El Sweet Daxamite. It actually tells about the Silver Age appearance of Mon-El. He's gone through a few different names. Mon-El, Valor, the Champion, I think at one time. His real name is Largand. He's not a Kryptonian. He's from an offshoot race called the Daxamites. Very important. You see, Mon-El thought he was maybe Kryptonian until he got poisoned by lead. Lead is to Daxamites what kryptonite is to Kryptonians. The problem is lead poisoning is permanent. Once you're sick, there's no known cure at this time. I hate to say this, but as I was saying, there is a alliance that the Dominators had with several different races when they invaded Earth. And I'll go through quite a few of them. But one I forgot to mention was, whereas a lot of them were shock troops or weapon makers or people that ran the gulags for superhuman prisons, the Daxamites did have a group that was sent there, but they were relatively neutral. They were just observers. See, they're very logical, very, that way. It wasn't until they showed up on Earth and exposed the yellow sun that they realized they had Superman-level powers. Now, this is huge. Mon-El's Daxamite. Daxamites helped the Dominators and the Dominion. What if he's an advanced spy working with the Dominators? Now, in a couple different variations of the stories, Mon-El had amnesia. Now, it's possible he genuinely doesn't have a memory. Maybe he's actually like programmed Total Recall style, and a certain trigger event will recall his memories. That way, any kind of probes or whatever that would try to check his mind, he would appear honest because he just doesn't know. He'd be a perfect spy. And, well, the thing is, eventually, after they started seeing how the humans, particularly Superman, treated them as opposed to the Dominion ready to just let them die off, the Daxamites changed their tune. They went from neutral to becoming more, physical and dealing with the superhumans to realizing they get boned. So the Daxamites actually helped to turn the tables against the Dominators and the Dominion. Huge. And I'm sorry, I told you, I'm warning you guys about spoilers. I'm just saying, right now, until it's revealed, the Kryptonian may actually be a Daxamite. Don't trust Daxamites. Okay, as I said, there's a bunch of alien allies that the Dominators had used. And there's quite a few, actually. Thanagar acted as kind of their own military police force. Of course, Thanagarians, the only other aliens that were mentioned throughout the DCU, the Thanagarians were mentioned in Legends of Tomorrow. And nth metal fragments from Thanagar actually were the things that gave Hawkman and Hawkgirl their powers, as well as Vandal Savage his immortality. Nth metal is the primary thing that their weapons are composed of. How frightening is it that alien metal could actually create metahumans? This is something that would get them involved, and that would pull in things for the Legends of Tomorrow. So that makes perfect sense, especially if they start to unite. Now, there's an interesting thing. Remember what I was telling you about the blaster field? Yeah, they took random people throughout the world. Now, one of those characters is a human by the name of Snapper Carr. This guy, originally in the Silver Age of the comics, back in the Justice League starting around the 60s, Snapper Carr was effectively the teenage sidekick for the group. He helped out. I mean, the Avengers back in the 60s had Rick Jones, the same guy that Bruce Banner saved and became the Hulk. Snapper Carr was like that to the Justice League. Now, as the time has gone on, they've tried to adjust things for Snapper. He's gone from sidekick or mascot for the League to reporter in the Justice League cartoons. He's actually been a military guy and liaison for Superhumans. But the funny thing is, he was also one of the people selected and abducted by the Dominators to run the blaster field. And it's funny because he was called Snapper. It was a 60s thing, like, hey, daddy, whatever. His big thing was always snapping his fingers. In this case, he survived and gained the power to teleport himself and one other person by thinking about a thing and snapping his fingers. It was really messed up because in the comics, he eventually lost that power. He realized that some bad guys found out that snapping his fingers was the trigger thing for his power. They surgically removed his hands and replaced them with bionics. They still look and acted human, but he couldn't use his powers anymore. That was dick. So, if Snapper Carr is going to be involved, he's been announced that he is coming to Supergirl. So, Snapper Carr showing up on Supergirl, having a part in dealing with the invasion, having a connection with the Justice League, that may be a huge spoiler for what role he's going to be playing in this season. Funny enough, also, another character is going to be showing up. Ms. Martian, a white Martian named Megan Moores, is going to be showing up and pretending to be the niece of J'onn J'onzz. Now, for those that are familiar with her mostly from Young Justice, this is not going to be the optimistic, innocent, hello Megan version of Ms. Martian. No. So there's going to be changes. Spoiler warning, just be prepared for that. It's not going to be the same kind of attitude there. She's going to be more like the comics, and she was definitely more distant and sometimes getting into issues there. But Ms. Martian's going to be showing up, a white Martian. Here's the thing. One of the allied races in the Dominion for the invasion was the Durlans. These are shape-shifting beings who acted as the infiltrators, the intelligence gatherers. Now, Durlans can shapeshift, but they don't really gain the superpowers or abilities of any specific, like superpowered being that they encounter. They have certain physical things. They're like an elephant. They're pretty strong, but they're not like super strong. Durlans are pretty important here because although right now they're kind of evil in this time, in the future, in actually about 1,000 years, there's a Durlan that's a member of the Legion of Superheroes called Chameleon Boy. He's actually trying to show that they can actually be good. And essentially, he's fighting out against the prejudice of people not trusting a shapeshifter. Will we see Durlans? Well, one of the big clues I was thinking about Durlans is in Arrow. Once again, spoiler alert. Certain characters that we've seen in the past, like supposedly Deathstroke may be returning. Is it going to be Manu Bennett? Not sure. But the big thing that everyone's dropping is Laurel Lance is supposed to be coming back for it. The actress that played Moira Queen is coming back, and Robert Queen is coming back. In that reality, they died. And the creators of the show are insisting, this isn't Flashpoint, this isn't erasing time, but these actors and actresses are still showing up. How can that be? Well, with the Dominators involved, and with their alien counterparts working with them, it's possible that these could be shapeshifters that are trying to get information out of Oliver. Well, here's the thing. I'm not sure how many shape-shifting evil aliens they're going to want to put in there. White Martians have already been introduced on Supergirl. And since Miss Martian's coming in, it would only make sense to me, from a show point of view, to, instead of trying to confuse the audience by bringing in another evil shapeshifter race, they may substitute the Durlans with the White Martians. If that's the case, they're going to be hella powerful. And I mean, they're going to be Kryptonian level to certain degrees, but that also means that they may have an easy way to fight them once they figure out the weakness, and it's pretty big. If you don't know, I'm not going to ruin that for you. I think I'm doing enough with this video. But yeah, check out Martians and find out their vulnerability. Now, why would they go after Oliver? He's not a metahuman. He's worked with a bunch of them, but as far as records go, he was among the first costumed vigilantes to show up, and he's made a huge connection network of both superhumans, metahumans, and also knowing about supervillains. So, if the Dominators are after all metahumans to collect them or to enslave them, then it's possible Oliver may be the one person that has the knowledge of where they'd be. The Argus prison on Lian Yu, the Argus files for the Suicide Squad, not to mention his knowledge of the pipeline prison under Star Labs. He could be seen as the one weak link, and if White Martians, Durlans, or whoever these shapeshifters are trying to get his information out, that could be frightening. Also, another possibility is that he might actually be hallucinating and possibly being mind probed. See, in Supergirl, there was a plant called the Black Mercy. This thing is nasty. It originally showed up in an Alan Moore written Superman story called For the Man Who Has Everything. It essentially latches onto someone and puts them into a super dream state of their ultimate dream life, their greatest fantasies, and it's real to them. And most creatures stay trapped in that. The only way to break out of it is to realize that your greatest dreams are just a dream and give up everything you love. If Oliver has been tapped by a Black Mercy, it would explain why so many of his loved ones have returned and are coming back. Just a theory. This isn't confirmed. And like I said, it's a storyline that happened on one show and in the comics, but this is frightening. If he gets exposed to the Black Mercy, then the shapeshifters may be taking the place of Laurel, Moira, and Robert, or it's all just a dream. Just giving you a warning, guys. Now, let's see here. Oh yeah, I talked about Thanagar. That's going to involve the Hawks again. I said, the pipeline prison that the Flash has not only several bad guys captured from this Earth, but hundreds, if not over 1,000 evil metahumans from Earth 2. I'm already creating buzz. I haven't even uploaded the video yet. But here's the thing. If they get a hold of these creatures, not only could they possibly use them for experimentation or an army, but if they find out about the existence of the multiverse, if they pry the secrets of trying to travel from one reality to another, then that makes the Dominators an entirely brand new level of threat. We don't need them invading the multiverse to snatch up metahumans. Also, several different members of the races. I mentioned the Thanagarians, the Durlans, possibly replaced with the White Martians. There was a race called the Cahoon. They act as the shock troops of it. They're physically strong, tough, durable. They've been throughout the comics and stuff. There actually was a Cahoon that was found in an episode of Supergirl. So they're already established. So it makes sense that the Dominion is actually trying to get a hold of various races for an alliance, especially if they want to get the heck off of Earth. Now, what would be the involvement for the Legends of Tomorrow besides the fear that Thanagarians may be showing up early? Well, since they have a time ship, one of the few time ships out there, if the Dominion gets a hold of it, not only could they be trying to go after the Legion of Doom, who also have superpowered members, but now they have access to gather every metahuman throughout time. See, with the big nth metal explosion, it may actually have to trigger a time boom that gave a lot of people their powers in the past. So the Legends may have created it in stopping Vandal Savage. Time boom. If they get access to a time machine and they go back to start gathering them, then they rewrite history and the Dominators win. Hands frickin' down. You know, these are a lot of the big bullet points I've been working on here that cover up from my last video. Sorry if I wasn't complete. I was kind of anxious. But see, I know people say, could you like order your thoughts or something? Okay, I've written it down. I'm ordering my thoughts. Happy? Okay, I'm not getting mad. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to run down all the possibilities here. If I'm right, then a lot of these things could be hidden storylines that I might very well be ruining. If Mon-El turns out to be a temporary traitor and then allies with Superman and Supergirl, that could be huge. He probably is also going to, during the encounter lead poisoning, get stuck in the Phantom Zone to save his life, and then he'll return 1,000 years later when Brainiac 5, yes, Brainiac 5, will find a cure for the lead poisoning, give him his powers, and he'll become one of the greatest members of the Legion. So it's pretty freaking huge, and a lot's going on. With this kind of interconnectedness, it really starts to make me think that maybe everybody back at the DC knows what the heck they're doing. Then I think about Mark Guggenheim, and I change my mind. But I'm just kidding. Okay, not really. Anyway, this is my idea here, and like I said, these are all things that have been seeded. Little hints dropped for several months now about certain characters showing up, and I think that this could actually be the outline for what's going on for the 4-part crossover, as well as little things that are going to be planted this season. What do you think? Please like, comment, subscribe, share, pass this bad boy around. Let's get a discussion going. I want to see what you think. Until next time, Dave signing off. Peace. Yum yum.